Hello, guys. Welcome. We have a draft. We have a game. It's game 3. In case you've missed it, game 1 went the way of Tempest. Game 2 went the way of SG. Who will take game 3? Okay, Beastmaster's banned, so it's still up in the air. We're gonna have to see. My panelists, Richie, Seek and Strike, that's his real name, and Kips will be analyzing this encounter. So, Seek, what should these teams seek, and what should they strike at?
The goal of Dota 2 is to destroy the enemy's Ancient.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
Yes, you have. And the best way to do that is, so far, has been at least to pick some solid push in your offlane. I will add, though, SG, they do deviate from their first phase bans quite significantly. They've always been the tiny first phase, and that's because Tempest absolutely love this hero, I believe, in the mid lane for Zebas. It's, I think, their most played hero so far in DPC. Tempest have not been winning a whole lot this DPC, so maybe there's something to say for that. Maybe they're not scared of it. Or maybe they had something ready, like this Monkey King and Vengeful Spirit. Lots of minus armor, physical damage, difficult for the Tiny to fight into early. But the Beastmaster... Oh, also banned. Pardon me.
Yeah, that's right. That's the first thing I said, Richie. Come on.
Yes, pardon. And Viper. That was the adjustment, right? As Tempest are in love with the V heroes. They love the Viper, the Visage, the Venomancer in the offlane.
V-Rising.
Yes, V Rising, V Gaming. I don't think we're going to quite see the Visage this game. The Monkey's a pretty solid pick into it. And, well, you just kind of got stomped on the hero. Like, playing Visage when you're that far down from the lane till the end of the game just does not feel good. I wouldn't be clamoring for the hero here.
No, into Monkey King, definitely not as well. He just smacks his staff, your birds are dead. It's a bad time. And yeah, the same goes for this core Tiny here, because I've seen the Tiny mostly as a support. I kind of like Tiny support into the MK just because you get to yeet him out of his circle, save people circle. Like there's some options there for sure, and definitely would help versus a Venge lineup as well. Get some enforcement of your own. But well, there's your V hero. There he goes. I was gearing up for a Void Spirit. I was like, this is the only one he hasn't mentioned. It's going to be that one, but nope.
And my apologies. It has mostly been support Tiny. I was completely off the mark. So yeah, this is the offlane. Yes, thank you.
It's interesting though, because if you notice, the draft has actually taken a lot of steps that we haven't really mentioned. These invisible steps are Beastmaster gets banned, therefore Visage and Lycan become viable in the pool. Who's the best hero against both these heroes? Actually, Monkey King. That's why he was banned earlier. Lycan struggles a lot against this hero, both in lane and in game. So they pick up the Monkey King early, which forces Tempest to go away from the Zoo that they like so much, and instead go for the Venomancer, which will counter the Monkey King. So it's like there's a game that happened in between that got skipped, as both teams realize what the crux of the draft is, which is stopping Zoo. But now SG, technically they have the option to go for their own Zoo, and nothing is really stopping them, unless Tempest picks some deep push.
No, they've...
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, they still have the tree, right? And that's been a favorite of Tempest for a long time. Yeah. So that's got to be a must ban. That's the only thing I wanted to mention. SG, they've banned it in Game 1, I believe, and in Game 2, so I'd expect to do it here as well. But did just want to point out that Wu loves playing Tree and Protector.
They also have the Faker Coddle, right? That's something they used to break out in the beginning. Now they don't do as much, but it's also an option against Zoo. Oh, sorry. Never mind. That's me being an idiot. That was the wrong team. Sorry. I went for SG here.
Good. I mean, I wouldn't mind a mid Coddle either into a Monkey King, right? Lots of magic damage.
I haven't seen Sebas play it, though. Do you find this playstyle would suit the mid Coddle? I think he's a Spirit player.
Yeah.
I think he is. Yeah, I think I'd agree with you.
Same here.
You don't carry
Monocoddle at all.
You what? Sorry?
No, I don't see Monocoddle at all. Like the positioning of these players, because I've seen this before, where a player who's used to playing very much forward plays on a Coddle, and then he takes his usual positioning, goes, oh, I should not be here. I'm a Coddle, and then he walks back again. And you get this weird stutter stepping instead of like this confident positioning around the side of the fight where a Coddle should be, right?
Fair.
That happens.
Yeah, that's a very good call, actually. Yeah.
He's very much more of your spirits, invokers. He's made the decision. I don't see this a lot, especially when you make that transition from top 53 immortal player like Sebas is to professional in Div 1. You usually hide your Dota buff profile. He's actually made the decision to unhide it or recently switched accounts and he's playing on his main. I don't know. But yeah, lots of Embers. I'm not really seeing any of these coddle mids here in his recent pubs.
If you want
Still
to,
at that point.
it's a really tough position to be in when you're someone like Sebas, right? Because you just made it into a team pretty much off your MR. So even if you want to practice something new, like it does affect your potential rankings. If Tempest does not work out, he needs a new team to go out for, you know, and he needs to keep that MR high to convince the other team to take him. But that means no practicing. I think a good example is Dark Mago, who only spammed like 3-4 heroes for his entirety just to gain MMR, and then finally when he was on the team and he was convinced he was going to stay on the team for a while, he started to expand his hero pool, right? But it's a very difficult position to be in.
The other side of that coin, though, is like, you can look at it that way, and you're absolutely right. But the other side of the coin is then, like, you know, if you ask people casually, like on the Dota 2 subreddit, like, guys, I'm a Crusader 3, how do I gain an MMR? Everyone's going to tell you, yeah, just spam a couple of heroes. Just get really good at, like, 3 or 4 different heroes.
It's true, though.
And, like, you're going to gain MMR, right? And, like, that is very much a pub mentality to have. Like, at some stage, you need to make that transition and bite the bullet a little bit there and go, yeah, I might lose some MMR, but if I want to make it and be a viable pick, or a viable pickup for one of these professional teams, they have to, like, I can't just have a 3-hero puddle. Dark Mago made that transition, and I think Thunder are much better for it now these days, right? Like, that's out of the question. Yeah, it's a very difficult thing, Avo, actually.
That is the reason why I've always advocated for you spam a couple of heroes to go up, then you broaden your hero pool and you stay at the same rank. That's the idea. And then you narrow again, you go up, you broaden, stay. Narrow up. And you need to do that in a couple of stages. Like, people who go all the way up spamming only 3 heroes, yeah, of course you have no idea how the rest of the game works.
You know, that reminds me of like climbing mountains. They say, like, when you climb mountains, you gotta climb high and sleep low so your body gets used to the oxygen. You know, you don't, like, sleep at the summit. Very similar to that, isn't it? And there's the mid lane invoker for Sebas. Okay. What?
I thought the sleep low meant like you have to put like your head in the ground or something.
Yeah, you're like an ostrich at the beach. Yeah, absolutely. And the Faceless Void.
Less oxygen.
Less oxygen. Very low blood in your oxygen. Lots of Bloodseeker. This series, however, I believe he's won every single game. So this time for SG, if you just back the Bloodseeker alone, Avo, then I'd say there's your money right there.
I agree. He's the best hero
on the other
in the
hand,
game.
Big team fight. But oddly enough, they've given a lot of strength to this Vengeful Spirit pick, right? Which we don't see a whole lot. Faceless Void, probably like his least favorite support to play against this Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a tough game. Faceless Void also struggles against Bloodseeker in general because you just neuter his mobility, right? And you're pretty strong in the mano a mano. You can actually survive a chrono, one of the tankier agility carries. It is interesting Void pick. I mean, they seem just putting all their eggs in the Invoker Cataclysm basket. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And the rest of it, like, that is also their only damage into Chrono right now. And you're going to last pick your position 5. There's not a lot of high damage plus 5s out there, which is not really a role that hero normally fulfills.
What do you think?
Oh, sorry, I was about to say, last time they ran this, they did run it with a Grimstroke in the safe lane. It wasn't a last pick, though. It was closer to a last pick for the Faceless Void, because this is the second time Tempest are going to be running this safe lane Faceless Void draft. They tried to do it against Thunder, and it did not work. They lost that game mostly because Panda was playing Abba, and then, like, pretty hard to kill Pakaz as well on the Morph lane. Better matchup this time, at least, I will add, even into the Void Spirit, if you can catch him. It's more the supports that, once again, might be the crux here of Tempest's team fight. I don't know what you pick it into, though.
Jakiro? I like Jakiro, I guess. Like, I want another stun, but I also want damage into Chrono. And that seems like the best bet I can come up with off the top of my head. Attack speed slow, also very nice versus this lineup. It could certainly be worse than that.
That's true. One more downside right now of the Faceless Void pick is that you don't know yet the enemy core, unless it's Vengeful Spirit 3. I'm more expecting it to be, well, could be a monkey. Oh, it is, in fact, a monkey support, of course, now that I look at things, yes. So yeah, you still don't know, however, your offlaner, most likely, unless it's a Venge 3 still, which is possible. And that does make the Faceless Void pick a little bit weak. They've banned the Lycan yet again. Maybe you consider Slardar. They go with Enigma instead. Fair enough.
I like the Slardar, actually. I mean, Veno does make him feel pretty bad, though. And the thing is, if you're Tempest, you can always Lich here if you want damage. And that makes Slardar also feel pretty terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Lich might be the move then, right? Because Slardar is something that's going to dominate the lane here. He doesn't bring push, which is the one downside. That's something that SG Esports are certainly lacking. But you've got great kill potential between Slardar, the minus armor from the Wave of Terror, Monkey to give vision, Venge to give vision, Void Spirit to make that jump. Like, that does sound pretty good to me. It lacks push. Centaur potentially is not too crazy here as well for SG. I'm just thinking, right, what Tempest have to think about as well. So I still like a Lich into that, though, to be honest. Lots of magic damage into that high HP hero. But yeah, those are the two viable picks I'm seeing. I like the Centaur a bit better, if I'm being honest, for SG Esports.
I think it's going to be Night Stalker, by the way, for SG, but, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just because it's Frank, and I was like, what's his hero pool? Oh, it's 3 heroes. Yeah, probably going to pick one of those 3. He has a wider hero pool, guys. It's just the ones he wins with, right? It's not that many.
Would you consider any strength to like the Brewmaster potentially in this lane?
Brew's very good against Void, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking,
that's why it's banned.
Oh, good point.
I would never give SG Brew. No.
Oh,
good.
CM. Well, free Night Stalker game.
Yeah. That
Night Stalker's looking pretty good here. The Veno's a little bit annoying because he can set up Plague Wards and then you know, they eventually are going to scout you, but like, it's still really good.
They can't actually stop you, like that's the thing. Sure, he can see you coming. It's like, oh, there is the torpedo. That's unfortunate. I'm a boat.
Okay.
No, the rudder's stuck, Captain. Oh, Broodmother.
Oh.
Wow, that's an old Frank pick. Is this a good Broodmother game, Kips?
Is this a good Broodmother game? Yeah. Hell of a good Broodmother game.
Okay, yes. Is there anything to stop her at all?
Promote that tiny to core.
Right, they've already screwed up on that first point, Kip, so I'm guessing that means that you're full SG today?
Yeah, I mean, now Kataro's job is just running after this Broodmother, I think. That is not a fun position to be in. Like, you're not going to... Because that puts you square into the most dangerous side of the map, right? When you want to be playing away from the Brood and have somebody else take care of her. So, give me SG.
Okay. Richie?
I'm not sure about the strength of Brood these days. I have gone with the push, and I've agreed. Kips and I have generally agreed on the first 2 games. But to make this one a little bit spicy, I'm actually going to go with Tempest. Right. I think the lane is very difficult for a Faceless Void, but I think he's relatively going to be unbothered in his jungle, and as long as he joins fights, with enough gusto with the cooldowns as well on his Chronosphere, I actually kind of like this Invoker Faceless Void combo. I want to see this work.
Okay. On one hand, belief on the Invoker and the Void. On the other hand, just Broodmother. They say that against Broodmother, what you need is an easy to land stun and some AoE damage. They have some of that. But in my experience with my own kitchen, if you have an infestation, you don't have the right tools, it's just going to keep on going. So we'll see what our casters think about this Broodmother. Let's go to that.
Oh, God, I hate Broodmother so much. I mean, I like what she does in this game for them, but this Black Widow set is, Bowie, is disgusting, isn't it?
It is. I am with you. I hate Broodmother. This hero is... people like to complain about the Huskars and the Tinkers of the world. They never really talk about Broodmother that much. Maybe they forget, that this hero exists. But I really feel like it's a decent pick. I think it is a Frank hero. And the only problem I see this game is that there's way more of a win condition, a late game win condition on Tempest. It felt like in game 2, they were kind of stranded, needing that Roche on the TA, needing to have everything going for them. And in this game, there's definitely potential. Like, if SG screws up just a little bit, I can see Tempest, even if they are behind, coming back from this game. So, nice toss back on Burner.
Yeah. Burner, Blood Right level 1 is just trying to get some damage onto them, but he is absolutely dead. Denied, though. KXY comes in and snipes it away from Tempest. It doesn't mean they get 3 3 bounty runes, though, SG. Even losing their Bloodseeker. Still getting a good start there, thanks to LTH, who is up in that top jungle. Would you...
Hey, that's really good. You force the Gale, right? That's a much worse spell, level 1 in the lane for Draken. The toss is kind of mediocre as well. Overall, I don't think SG really cares.
So with your point, would you put SG on a timer, or is that more of a case of Tempest have a way back into things if things go poorly?
Yeah, I think second option. Okay. It's not like... I mean, they are on a timer, don't get me wrong. I think if this goes like 40, 50 minutes, it is really hard to win against Void Invoker. It's probably one of the strongest late game combinations, right? Super classic.
Especially if you're pushing high ground into like tossbacks, chronos, tornadoes.
Don't get me started on the high grounds, dude, because we might see some 1K plays, if SG is playing from ahead. But, Broodmother has a super strong timing. It is very similar to that Lycan we talked about. You just dominate the entire jungle. And this Faceless Void will need a couple of intermediary items to start looking good. You see Maelstroms and even Yashin to BKB sometimes.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot of farm going for the Void if the Brood lane goes well, which is looking pretty good right now.
So what's the itemization like on Brood nowadays? Because I remember the old days of Orchid, the Aghanim Scepter, Diffuser Blade, BKB, all of that good stuff. And I guess my main question is, why don't Broods? Well, wait, hang on, is Frank dying up top? He is. He's got the stick, ability to get in the trees with the webs. He's safe and sound. LTH gonna get pain from the Maiden as we do lose Draken down bottom to Burner. LTH still gonna get jumped on here by the Faceless Void as we stick up top as the Frostbite from Catch You will catch the Monkey King. Oh, not quite enough damage. LTH is safe behind his tier 1 now. And Frank having to TP back. Yeah, why don't Broodmothers buy Helm of the Dominator, basically? Because it feels like she's that same kind of archetype as your Beastmaster and your Lycan, the big old zoo, tower-pushing strength.
I think the real difference is that, like, when you look at Lycans and Beastmasters, they're super slow, right? And they're not... You cannot farm as fast as the Brood just because you get the spawn spiderlings and stuff. So because she can farm, you just get kind of lured into this mana regen sort of style with either Orchid, pretty... I think you either go Orchid or you go some sort of like tanky Brood build that we saw getting pretty popular at the, I guess, end of... Before last TI, basically, with the,
Mech pipe
greaves
kind of deal.
and pipes. Exactly, yeah. I guess pipe not really that good of an item anymore.
Who was? Oh, it was Vitali, wasn't it? He was the one that was always playing Brood with the Aura build, yeah.
So I think if you get like a really good lane, just getting Orchid is amazing, because this Void usually relies on Time Walk to survive, and you just crush his lane. But right now he actually has the Soul Ring and Arcane skilled up, which is the standard. You just want to get max mana, so you spam your spawn spiderings as much as possible, and you just like farm everything. You just totally deny the farm on the Dire Jungle, and that's the beauty of it. You're farming, hard to get farm, which means you are farming and your team is also farming. You're not draining resources.
Right. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's like that staying power, right? You've got HP regen through the webs. You just need a bit of mana to be kind of a mobile fountain for yourself and stay in the lane permanently. Well, for now, Frank 14-7, getting a good few denies in there, and Faceless Void 9-4 definitely pressured a hell of a lot. So they're trying to chip away at Monkey King as best they can, just to alleviate a bit of that. I think that mid lane is definitely something we should look into, because Invoker's actually got that top water rune denied, and Slardin steals the bottom one. So maybe some difficulties for KXY coming up.
Quasvex Invoker on Sebas. Pretty good Quasvex Invoker game overall. I think there's a lot... Besides the Void Spirit, you can pretty much drain the mana of everyone. And we're talking about how mana is important for Broodmother. She actually does a lot of damage. Also, Shard is something that people are buying. I mean, not a lot, because this hero, even on Dota 2 Protractor, there's very few players trying it out. I think there's like one Seb game, one Saber-like game, but pretty much not a lot of players really messing with this hero. But the Shard apparently is something they are almost always getting.
Interesting.
And the mischance and the AoE.
He's pretty speedy. He's trying to get away from them. I mean, Widge might have to deny him. Doesn't get it done, though. Draken, that damage over time. Something Widge wasn't quite factoring in, and they might go for another dive here. Slardin does have an avalanche. Not enough mana for the toss, but they've got plenty of DPS with that Poison Sting and the Gale onto the Venge. So Draken comes out with a double kill.
Yeah, this Venomancer hero is very, very annoying. I guess like they were talking about how, you know, the Torpedo Night Stalker didn't really care about the Venomancer Plague Wards. Broodmother kind of works the same way. Also kind of just shreds the Plague Wards just because of the way the damage types work. But I do feel like they're gonna lack a little bit of kill potential if there's no Orchid coming out of this Broodmother, because it's been pretty rare for Void Spirits. Oh, speaking of
jump
Void Spirit,
mid, yeah.
lane.
Widge helping out the Void Spirit, but a good EMP Tornado and the Cold Snap onto KXY puts a stop to that nonsense. Deep Sebas safe and sound as Catch You
KXY
takes the Haste Rune, and they've got the Frostbite there. A toss up from Slardin kills off the Void Spirit. Super good for the Invoker. And here's the one that was getting rotated on by a number of heroes. Monkey a little bit late to the party there, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Invoker having trouble draining the mana from Void Spirit. If you commit on him, then it's much easier because they're not going to have your Dissimilate ready. So a little bit of oversight. Maybe they thought that they had a little bit more damage than they actually did. But overall, still a decent game for this Broodmother. In terms of CS, everyone on SG is ahead, and the net worth is already 1k. So pretty overall good game for them.
Sebas very quick, though, with this TP bot. Saves Draken's life. Widge and LTH are both making that move onto him, as Monkey King has turned into a dire creep and sprints away. But yeah, that Broodmother's just been left alone top, and 35-10, tons of denies you see on the Radiant side. 10 Bloodseeker, 9 on the Void Spirit, 10 on the Brood. So denying a lot of farm away from their counterparts, while keeping their own farm rate up. And this is where Broodmother starts to shine, right? Level 6 is here.
Exactly. Like, a Night Stalker can't really do this as effectively. The Void struggles a lot with actually killing the spiders before he has a Maelstrom. And you just choke mode. Like, unless you're a troll, I think there's very few carries that can actually stay in lane against this Brood. So, he's actually doing really well. He maxed Time Walk, but that will come at a cost, which is the farming items that he needs to survive also will come way later.
We'll slide in the Sebas. Pairing up again. Finding the Venge down bottom, so trying to shift the momentum of the map away from that top lane, away from the Brood, and down towards bot, where they can make some plays. And KXY getting toyed with by Katyu's Maiden, allowing Sebas to take the Arcane Rune down bottom. So it looks like we will start to see SG shifting up to top, especially with that tier 1 tower dropping so very quickly. Doesn't need a catapult, Frank. You know, it's 8.5 minutes in. That's a free tower.
Yeah. I really like the way Sebas is playing, by the way. They are really investing resources in denying the runes. Usually as Invoker, like, you don't care about it, right? Because you have EMP to drain mana and everything. But denying it from KXY really makes his plays hard to really do. He has no mana right now, no mana regen besides raindrops. So he's just stuck in this lane, which, you know, doesn't matter that much because you have Frank totally dominating the top side of the map. But it also means the Invoker is kind of free to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's roaming around. He's stacking camps even, the Sebas Invoker. We'll see again. You connect with the Tiny, and maybe they go, I don't know, they don't have a smoke or anything, but they definitely are looking for an angle down towards bottom where Draken has set up his Plague Ward wall. Radiant Vision sees them all coming, though, so it looks like SG just going to dodge and avoid any plays down that southern part of the map.
Good mirroring movement here, even sending the Invoker to make sure they can equalize the map. This Faceless Void needs a place in the map, and right now it's like mid, which is okay, but it's not the best like farming route for him. But the problem is with only 1 point in time lock, he actually farms so painfully slow, which is why he's also going for Mask of Madness, which is like good in a way, but it delays all of those timings even more. There's definitely a game where SG can do the same thing they did in game 1, just like eat the map and choke Tempest on their side of the map.
Yeah, and I love this from Frank. You know, he doesn't bother sticking on that top tier 2, knowing that there's Glyph, the ability for TPs to come and defend. And it's more of this classic Broodmother swing through the mid lane. They kill off the Katara Void quite easily in that mid lane. And Avalanche toss back to try and deal with the Spiderlings, as Sebas also TPs. Trying to react to this Widge Venge, who did stick around, looking for that finishing blow on the tier 1. Slardin, Sebas will be able to chase him down with the Urn of Shadows damage, and one more touch, a toss or an Avalanche. The Roshan deny in midair. He gets in midair. Roshan don't miss.
That was beautiful. I mean, look at that. They actually sent 4 heroes mid, Gareth. They get absolutely nothing for it. Even Roche takes the only thing they could have gotten. That's painful for Tempest.
Yeah, and it's down to this Frank move, right? He swings through the jungle. He's got webs everywhere, pressuring tier 1 mid. And, you know, he would have loved to kill that tower because the next stepping stone is the ability for Brood to go into Dire Triangle and really close the map in around Tempest. So good to see
By the way,
the smoke here from them.
Frank is going Orchid, by the way. With that Mask of Madness and the delay timings on Void, this could be problematic unless Frank dies.
Yeah, trying to catch him. Avalanche, Tornado, EMP, Cold Snap, Urn of Shadows, and maybe a bash from Kataro. It's Slardin's toss. And a finishing blow there from Kataro's Faceless Void. Once again, it is numbers. A numbers game from Tempest. 5 heroes were in the vicinity to try and get that kill. But it is must be a sigh of relief, right? Like, 20 seconds without a Broodmother on the map. We can do something.
For sure. And I'm actually so envious of Kotaro. Like, when I'm playing carry and I'm playing from behind, I never get those kills where, like, my entire team is like, all right, we're going to try to help you, okay? And then, like, your Crystal Maiden always gets the last hit. He has only 1 pointing bash, or at least he had only 1 pointing bash, and actually got the last hit there. Very good for him.
I'll tell you now, as a position 5 player, my motto is, dead is dead. If anyone accuses me of kill stealing, dead is dead.
You're totally right, but like when you're playing from behind as a carry, you know, you can't help but feel a little bit disappointed if you don't get it.
Oh, so deserving. Belongs to me. Blood Right, Frostbite, all the good stuff. LTH tagged by the Gale. They do have the Faceless Void taking out the Tiny though, so a trade at the very least for them. Slot in for LTH. Tempest want to keep moving forward though. Aggressively playing onto the tier 1 mid. Kataro has a chrono, but he opts not to use it. Letting the Witch Venge just back away.
I mean, I gotta say, that's quite a redemption story for you, right? From Tinker and Huskar player to support player? That's...
reformed, redeemed.
Do change. Yeah.
I just got old, you know? Tinker, my top 3 heroes were like Anti-Mage, Tinker, Huskar. It's not Invoker. Invoker's like #1 top hero.
Okay.
I think he's still my most played, but not anymore. Defense of the tier 1. Monkey King chucks out his statues. That clears Tempest away.
They do defend. Not that costly, actually, because the Wukongs, especially without the Orb Corrosion, not that important. And they're going double Orchid here on the SG lineup. The Monkey King already committed with the Void Stone. So it's huge if they can get the kills on Kotaro. If they don't, if somehow like he farms that BKB, then you're going to be feeling pretty sad. But a good advantage is on their side. As long as they can connect a couple more kills, secure Roche, it could be pretty much a redo of game 1. Oh my lord.
He's missed that. They've still got everyone here for it, though. Okay. Even with the missed Boundless Strike, it's easy. And top, Slardin. There's no Orchid yet on the Broodmother. That would have been an immediate kill if he did have it. Tiny will be let free. Still see the struggles, though, in dealing with this Brood top. You need multiple heroes to clear out Spiderlings. While down back in that bottom Radiant jungle. Bracken under Invis. Chrono solo on the Venge. Not what Katara was looking for, because KXY has very swiftly just stepped away. Void Spirit can't be caught by the Faceless Void.
I mean, it's a fine chrono, but could definitely buy Tempest in the behind a little bit if somehow they just finish his Orchid. Because now there's not going to be any defensive move. That's a level 1 chrono. Kotaro is still level 9 against, you know, the 10 of Burna, 11 of Frank. So I can already see them collapsing onto Kotaro here. He does have TP, so that could be a good move for him. The problem is he can't
Where?
go top because there's this Brood just shoving tier 2, dude.
You can't, can you? I mean, it was 2 ultis as well, right? It was Poison Nova and the Chrono, so that's a good 2 minutes or so where they don't have massive amounts of control and damage. But that also feels like it ties into their game plan. You know, the panel, and you've been saying that this kind of timer that SG are on, or rather a timer that Tempest are looking forward to, looking towards with the Chrono and the Cataclysm later on. That's why you've got the Hand of Midas queued on the Invoker. They are absolutely just weathering the storm these first 25, 30 minutes or so, and looking for the big team fights later on. So SG have to keep the pressure on. They have to keep moving aggressively. They can't let things slip away, like Monkey King giving a freebie away like that. Does allow KXY to jump in and pick off the Maiden. Trade is still a trade, but I think SG need a bit more out of that. Whether it's Roshan or map space or tier 2 tower, even just a kill on Tiny. KXY has no more spells at his disposal. Tempest bring a couple of heroes to try and mount a defense of this top outpost and tier 2 area. It's all room for Kotaro, though.
True. Did he finish his Maelstrom? Yeah, he's getting there. So it's a pretty big climb for him, but they need like 10 to 15 minutes. Like, this Void needs Maelstrom BKB. As you said, this Invoker needs Cataclysm. So even after the Midas, that's going to be a lot of money Sebas has to farm. And you got to farm somewhere.
Flood in.
Heroes.
Avalanche toss on LTH. He gets a boundless strike off before dying. Tornado will finish him off. Every little move like this from Tempest, another breath of life for them. And tier 1 being so low will give them a nice little influx of cash as well.
Are shoving top though. Lots of spiders there with the catapult. No glyph on Tempest, so this could be a tier 2.
I'm just wondering if this is where Frank should be making his home. Like, okay, he's pushing out that wave, but after pushing a wave, should he not be, going into jungle to farm, going into enemy triangle, finding the Faceless Void? A kill on a Tiny here is nice and all, but what does it give them in the long run?
I mean, it's what he really wants right now is just to make sure that they actually get this tier 2 and control outpost. Once the outpost is controlled, that's when Roche becomes a possibility. Well, he needs to respawn.
Yeah, he's dead.
To do that.
He gets a lot of damage onto Catch You. Orchid and the Spiderling is there, but the response from Tempest, very strong with the Invoker and the Faceless Void.
Yeah, Brood, that is one of the weaknesses of Brood. Like, once she settles into a home, she builds her nest, it is very painful to switch places.
All the Atos catch on Burner. He does get the Rupture onto Sebas, and Monkey King in from the back end. He's gonna just whack away at the Invoker here, but a good Tornado gets rid of the Jingu. Boundless Strike comes, and Bloodseeker, he's already got himself out of there. Avalanche Toss will connect onto LTH. Inside his Wukong's command, he might feel safe, but with a Venomous Gale and a Sunstrike placed, misses and off the mark, but still dead. So thankful, Burner gets out of there as Widge chased by a hasted Tiny. Oh, toss back into the Mud Golem, swap to get that damage reduction. In comes KXY and will look to blow up the Tiny. Catch You with a freezing field. Huge damage though onto this Void Spirit. He's nearly dead, but the Resonant Pulse damage reduction gets him on top as Sebas still finally dies, but Burner, he can open up on them. Oh, he runs away. He doesn't want to chase the Invoker who's on 50 HP. Instead, gets out of danger knowing that Kotaro and Draken were nearby.
Hey. Yeah, I really feel like LTH, he died like in the last 3 fights, actually 4 fights that he engaged. He was having a really good early game, and I don't think his moves really combine with the build he's going for. Like, he just died way too much rushing this Orchid. So he doesn't really contribute that much in fights, but the way he's committing is as if he already has Orchid ready. So I think that might become a pretty big problem, but at least they get a tier 2 tower top. But we were talking about all of that potential that Tempest has with the items. The Maelstrom is already done. Faceless Void already has the Mithril Hammer. They're getting there, and I don't think SG is grabbing as much as they got in Game 1.
Yeah, it felt like they were quite timid and waiting for the Bloodseeker BKB, which he does now have, so Burner are probably going to feel much more comfortable playing aggressively. Of course, Void Spirit has Aghanims coming out to him on the Courier, I believe. Point Booster arriving. Which leads me to a question about the Broodmother again. Point Booster on Frank. It looked like he was maybe planning on Ags and then changed his mind to BKB. Because he has a Point Booster.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting, actually.
Oh, catch.
Wait a second.
It's just a Crystal Maiden. Nothing of importance was lost. Draken with a TP out. There's a Boundless Strike, though. LTH finds the range. And that is an important kill. 2 heroes dead now. This opens up potential for Roshan. The ability to take Outpost top again.
Chrono. So it is a little scary, but with no BKB on the Void, no real big item on Invoker, they might just try and force this Roche. I think it's okay. Even smoke. Or if they feel like the Void is not even going to try and contest. If they can find the Void with that Ags you talked about, this could be huge.
Oh, there's Sunstrike to scout the pit. Slot in with his
You got
blink.
a Vembrace.
Forces BKB out of Burner. Yeah, Bloodseeker.
Bottom though.
BKB TP out in bottom lane. The catch onto the Faceless Void. KXY and Widge there. Great partnership between the two of them, and the tip comes out. Burner's like, my BKB wasn't wasted. It was all a bait.
Oh, well, maybe if they can find this Void Spirit. Hard kill though.
With the combo they've got, that Frostbite will root him. Stop any maneuverability he thought he might have. And again, Sebas so good with these kill secures with the Tornado.
Oh, so unfortunate actually. The Witch TP'd. Not really sure why. If he was there, he could definitely save it with the damage reduction, the Nether Swap. He's already level 12. Another gamer, he's super over leveled as a support. But yeah, pretty big that they find the Void Spirit there.
LTH. He's playing with fire a little bit there. Good Boundless Strike, but Draken with his Rod of Atos. Always a threat in terms of catching out these mobile, elusive heroes. How are we looking now? So Invoker working on BKB. So Aghanims is still a fair distance away.
The Brood actually went eggs. He had the VKB as you talked about, but he did finish the eggs.
Okay. So Spinner's Snare.
Yeah, it's such a weird... Like, when he actually released, a lot of people said that it was garbage, but it's kind of good, really. It just makes, like, Broodmother is such a global hero in the sense of, like, you just control so much of the map, and it allows you to feel even more global when you're not there. So I do like the item. Oh, LTH, actually. Oh, what?
He jumps away. They got the kill on Widge in that mid lane with a little toss back. Sunstrike trying to scout the Monkey King out again. Tempest there. They're all kind of swarming around the Roche pit. I would love to find Frank the Broodmother, but yeah, that's the Spinner Snare, right? Rooting and spotting Sebas. Such a good vision ability. You know, if you expect a smoke or some kind of sneaky maneuver from your opponents, you put a Spinner Snare into one of those webs nearby. You pretty much see everything coming.
Now, my question is, since I'm not a Brood player, this is a snare, which I'm assuming is close to a root. Does this disarm? Or not?
Does
Can
it
you attack
disarm?
when you're...
I don't think... I don't know.
You can't? Because, like, there are some routes, very few routes, where you can actually attack. I wonder if that's the case. Berna!
Yeah, BKBs, but he's Chrono and Sunstruck. Half HP Bloodseeker dying to the Faceless Void, but a great swap. Widge gets him out of there. Rupture onto Katara now puts him in danger. Silenced up, the blood right out. Burner dead to Slardin's jump. And Faceless Void is time walking all over the place. Widge and Burner both dead. The Broodmother tossed back into the middle of them. The freezing field from Cat U clearing them all up as the Void Spirit is caught in a frostbite. What? Where did that team wipe come from?
I mean, it was such a chaotic game. Like, we saw LTH just wasting the Wukong's command in that weird Widge death. Then, I mean, there was a lot of things happening there, but they wasted a lot of cooldowns on the side of SG, and eventually with the BKB, like that's the timing that Tempest was looking for, and it felt like SG. There were way too many things happening at the map, but they were not connected. Like SG didn't feel like they had a plan. It really felt like the last 10 minutes felt like a pub. You know, it's Brew doing something there, then you have the Venge and the Void Spirit Flame together, but the Monkey King is just randomly farming Orchid. Burna like shows up to a fight sometimes, and eventually with the BKB and the Chrono, they just find the Burna kill. Even with the swap, Tiny was in good positioning, gets the Burna kill, and that's just easy Roche for Tempest.
Yeah.
This is hard now. This is gonna be a really hard game for SG.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those weird ones where we've talked so much about the Void Spirit, the Broodmother, and the supports kind of roaming around and doing things in their lanes, that Burna has been an afterthought for the most part. He's not really had a massive amount of impact, even though he's top net worth. I was going to Rupture on Tiny, but Slardin TP's away. Witch's Venge looking to turn and burn onto the Draken Venno. A BKB from Burna there will give him that safety to get this one kill, but it feels like a waste yet again. That's 3 BKB charges used by Burna, 2 defensively, and 1 now to get a solitary kill on a Venno. As Tempest, you've got to be feeling incredibly good about this game. You're 26 minutes in, you're leading kills, there's not much of a net worth difference between the two of you, and you've got Aegis on the Void.
This is perfect. And Kotaro had a terrible game. Once again, feels like he... when he has a bad game, they look even better in the mid game for some reason. Like game 2, his lane was not that bad, but he needs to die twice to look really good in the mid game apparently. And now has the Mjolnir. This is a game where Burna cannot be chronoed. Like he's so much of their damage. If he does get chronoed, you really need the Venge to be like in positioning to swap instantly, because they have a lot of burst damage. And even though she got the swap off, it was way too late. He couldn't get back into the fight, even though he was alive, and he even dies eventually to the Tiny.
Well, looks like Richie's done the research. He's been in the demo lobby. He said that Spinner Snare does not appear to disarm. That answers your question.
Okay.
SG are in. Faceless Void. He's tossed away. He's going to come out of that silence and be able to time walk even further. SG miss out on another huge kill. That could have put the game back in their hands.
That was pretty close. Would be great for them to steal that Aegis. And now Chrono is back up for Tempest, so you gotta be very careful with these aggressive moves they're doing. They have very little vision on the side of Tempest, so SG, yeah, even their wards are going to be taken instantly by the sentry. I think that is one thing that SG is not doing that well. We can see a ward that has been in the SG triangle for pretty much its entire duration, and they never, I mean, they have a sentry, but they never really checked it. You know,
Yeah.
As I say that, they do take it out. I think the control of the triangle hasn't been great from SG, which is what allowed Tempest to take a really good fight around that area.
Faceless Void still has that Aegis for 2 minutes. And a 5-man smoke from Tempest. Lining up an opportunity in that mid lane. Very defensive positioning though from SG. Like Widge is forward farming top. KXY shows on the lane. All 3 other heroes hiding in the fog of war. Looks like the smoke will come to nothing. Taro goes to clear out the bot lane. The remaining heroes still trying to angle towards maybe a setup for a push mid with the plague wards being built around that tier 2. And Dire do get scanned on their way back. That's another one of those situations though, Bowie, where the question has to be asked, how does SG start a team fight?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Well, before you even ask how, I think you have to wait for this Aegis, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of good opportunities for a fight. I think the best way for them is actually to just bait a core with the Venge in position. If they can poke somehow with, LTH and then have Burna or the Broodmother show up, if they can waste the Chrono, that's when Burna can fully commit. And he has a lot of damage. He's really farmed. But he can't up BKB so that he gets chronoed. That's really what's going to kind of make or break these fights.
That's right. We've not seen a swap out yet, have we?
Sorry?
We haven't seen like a swap to save someone out of Chrono yet, have we?
Yeah, there's like that one where Berna died, unfortunately. But yeah, they were not like very quickly in position. It was like around the area, but not as close as he could be. Even though he was level 12, so the range already pretty big. This spell got really buffed. I remember back in the day when I think the range was 500, maybe 450 level 1. It's now 800 level 1. So much better saving spell, also with the damage reduction side of it.
We're still finding a decent amount of room. LTH again, just forward farming in the enemy jungle. Trying to get towards his own BKB. Well, this is where Tempest are stamping their mark on the map. They're all gathered up. There's this wall of 3 heroes. Slardin, Draken, and Katyu. Creating a bit of a barrier, so there's no potential for like a smoke wraparound or anything like that.
Both teams mirroring each other pretty well right now since they know Roche is not up. So they can play in the each other's big jungle. The problem is that like you don't really feel confident on the side of SG to actually take a fight top. So that's why everyone else but the Void Spirit is like trying to defend the Bloodseeker in the triangle. So they're really trying to protect Berna. Whereas Tempest, they feel way more free. But this is a good time to take a fight. Age has finally expired. I mean, it's been a while. And it's all about forcing this Chrono or fighting when you know that the Void is away. Which right now they don't have vision of control.
We spent a lot of time talking about Cataclysm. I'm looking at this Invoker, and it doesn't appear that he's opting to go for Aghanim Scepter anytime soon. He had bots queued up, he's got Hex queued up now. Is he going to wait for Roshan to give him an Aghanims, or what's the deal there? I thought Chrono Cataclysm would be huge for them.
I think he just understands that they are very strong. Oh, Aeon just going to Stein.
Yeah, Slardin's just like, yeah, what up? Jump me if you dare.
Damn. He really is farmed right now. But yeah, I think this Invoker knows that it's not really about Cataclysm. He just needs to be alive.
He's caught. He's dead.
Ooh.
They've blown him up. Burner finally getting to use his BKB offensively. Disarmed now, though, as Katyu and Draken try to unload their Freezing Field and poison damage. But Burner with a triple kill, looking for his Ultra. Will look to finish off the Venomancer, but he dies before he can get it done. Draken picks up a double kill in the chaos of that fight. But Invoker, the only one still standing on the Tempest side in a 3-for-4.
Hey. That's the dream for them. They were able to stun the Void, even though he has the Titan's Liver. Didn't have time to pop BKB there. But really nicely executed by SG. But now he's going to respawn with Chrono alive. Can SG take a good fight when they are the ones being initiated? That's really the question. I think Tempest, they chilled quite a bit. But with Roshan being up, they know that all they need to do is win a fight with Chrono, and Roche is theirs.
Now look at that, Burner. Gotta feel so good about himself. Finally winning a battle for SG.
Is that a BKB on Katyu?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that is. Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Something Crystal Maiden was missing in a previous game. Felt like she needed it for those freezing fields. This time it has it, right on time.
Yeah, the shard already queued up, so that blink shard BKB CM, I mean...
Philosopher's Stone lets you do anything you want, right?
Yeah, there's so much scaling on Tempest, man. This draft is very scary. Like, SG, if they win this game, I'm going to be very impressed, because I would say there's a lot of odds stacked against them. This Broodmother, you know, it's a weird hero. It's not that he doesn't scale, but he definitely feels stronger in the first 20, 30 minutes of the game. As the game unfolds, especially if you don't go the Fusel Blade, crit sort of Brood, you don't really do that much, especially when the support 5 has a BKB at 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a rough one. What was your answer, by the way, about the Invoker not going Ags?
Oh, he just doesn't need to die. Like, if he's alive and he can Alacrity the Void, that's oftentimes going to be more impactful than necessarily a Cataclysm. Like, even the Chronos that we saw, it was only one hero on Berna, right? You don't need the, like, flashy especially because there is Avenge on top of it.
Right.
So even if you build for the Cataclysm, it's so easily counterable by Witch being in a good position. Speaking of good position, he is not in good position right now. He might just die.
Yeah, I thought maybe it could be a bait, but they've also tossed Frank back in. Has to be Gibby TP. Nothing to cancel it there. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, right? It's consistency through Scythe of Vice, or the opportunity or chance for one of these big Chrono Cataclysms that could get countered by or swap out by the Venge.
Don't force the Roche. Very calm from Tempest. They really don't feel the pressure right now. They understand how much they scale this game, so even if they kill, they'll just try to maybe find another one and finally join the pit. Good position there by slotting as a big tiny ward.
Yeah, Blink, Force, Aeon Disc, Spider Legs as well. Tons of mobility on the Tiny. He is just biding his time and waiting for someone to show, and it's going to be Frank's Broodmother. And they immediately move into position, but they've all jumped out of the pit while the Tiny tosses the Brood into the pit. Sunstrike is there, hits into the Brood, and Sebas will pick up that kill and send the Brood into the grave for 80 seconds. So that's a free Roshan, that's Aegis and Shard. And there's still the opportunity for a Chrono from Kataro, so the map will completely open up for Tempest.
That was very satisfying. Just watching the Brood flying 2,000 range, just being smashed.
Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to catch the Sludge and Tiny, but again, he's got 4 staff, Blink Dagger, Eon Disc, Spider Legs, 2,700 HP and 15 armor. I just don't see it happening.
And this is one of the scenarios where maybe, even if SG lost the fight, maybe they could have gained more by contesting that Roche. Because, as you said, now not only they're going to take all of the map away from SG, Chrono is still up. So, I feel like that's a thing that really good teams do sometimes, where even after Aegis or Roche is taken, they still take a good fight, because they understand that killing the Aegis is sometimes more important than losing 3-4 heroes.
Yeah.
Avoid.
2-man Chrono. Sunstrike on Widge. A Boundless Strike is there to try and delay Kataro's damage, but KXY has also jumped into this Chrono. Aegis looks like it's going to be claimed here, unless Slardin can do something about it. They lose the Faceless Void the once. He will respawn in a sec, but Bloodseeker's already TP'd home, and KXY with his BKB Astral Step gets out of danger. That's the play you were just mentioning. You've lost Avenge, but they've spent Chrono, they've spent Aegis, and SG feel really good about that.
Yeah, that was really good. Also, nicely executed by Berna. Didn't even flinch. As soon as Void was dead, he understood that that's what they came for. Gets out. Still, keeping up with this Void, although the gold advantage is growing and growing for Tempest. So, pretty good series by him. I think his Bloodseeker, in both games, was very, very powerful. I wonder when he's gonna get that shard. Usually you see it earlier if the enemy has tankier heroes. So far, he doesn't have anything queued up.
He's come a long way, hasn't he? I remember when we were casting the early tours, Burner was on Wraith King every game. Oh, Avalanche toss back. Widge sent into the middle of 4. That's going to be the Vengeful Spirit dying. Taro trying to jump in and jump out with his DD rune. Looks like a tier 2 tower is theirs to claim.
Definitely has. I remember him struggling in Division 2 games, but nowadays he really feels like a solid carry.
Look.
This game is a really hard one for him to carry.
Oh, it is. You can see Tempest really playing with their food at this point. Slardin has had a spectacular series. It's going in, going out. Catching people left and right. The Faceless Void, half HP, but in comes Cat U with his BKB. The Freezing Field, countered by the BKBs of SG. Burner trying to battle with Kataro. Sunstrike's incoming though, and the Bloodseeker, he's dead. Does have buyback, and they show the double buyback out of their 2 supports. The trouble being, Tempest aren't losing anybody here. They are just standing their ground and fighting through all the chaos. Broodmother, Frank is about to drop. Bloodright's a good one, will silence up a couple, but they are bleeding out and quickly. 4 heroes drop. No defense left. Burner tornadoed and ice walled. He's slowed to a crawl, and that's got to be game.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that was a really good defense by SG. The only timing that they had was the Chrono being on cooldown, and when they engaged, it was on 25 seconds of cooldown. if they kill the Void there, that's huge. They wouldn't have another chance of having, even though this is a 20k goal lead, they had better time to fight. They were really close on killing Kotaro. He's just a little bit too farmed. It was kind of inevitable. They knew that it would only get worse from there, so I don't mind the play that they did. This Brood worked really well, but I think their mid game, as it is very often with SG, not as crisp as maybe they would have liked. And at Tempest, they just take it.
Way better execution in terms of team fight. The macro play, we also always love to bring up that factor, right? The split pushing, control of the lanes, understanding which objectives you need to go to. Tempest did a great job controlling Roshan's. Throughout this series, it felt like understanding second Roshan in particular, taking it away from certain heroes, removing it from the TA lineup, etc., and looking incredibly strong. But again, SG a pretty new squad, right? Still looking decently good middle of the table. This has got to be super important for Tempest, getting the points here, getting the victories under their belt.
Oh, definitely. I really feel like with the old iteration where they still had, Leo, Style, and Kim, it felt like they were always that middle of the pack team. They were not like really taking games out of Beast Coast and Thunder Awaken, but also not being relegated. This could be the push that they need to kind of ascend. It's weird because those players did so well together in the past, but they finally decided to like split up. And feels like Sebas is meshing really well. We talked a lot about Kotaro, but I think Sebas overall had like very solid games. His itemization is really on point. Sliding also doing great. So really nice to see these players kind of shine a little bit more. But also as a Brazilian, kind of sad to see SG not take this serious, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little bit upsetting for you. But I had to go back and check because I had this little flag pop up in my head, and I'm thinking, this very often we see some teams. We talk about Beast Coast, Thunder, and of course the strength of some of these Tempest players, where mid to late game decision making can be incredibly important for some of these teams to make that step from tier 2 to tier 1 squad status. And both of the games that Tempest won, it was literally like 30-minute mark. At 30 minutes, they won a couple of team fights, swung the game, and won the game. Game 1 and 3 were both decided like at 30 minutes. Is that like specifically second Roshan, or what do you reckon is the real threat there that a team like SG has to fix?
I mean, in this game specifically, I feel like they were just on a timer. They played a very similar game to game 2, and at that time, also playing Radiant, they were able to take all of the boxes and do everything that they needed. The problem, I think, with Broodmother specifically, is that the hero doesn't have like those cooldowns where you just group up as Lycan, you press shapeshift, you have a big team fight, and you do things. You're just like there and poking and doing a lot, and I think this hero is harder to execute than Lycan because of that. Like he also went this egg, so he didn't have a BKB, right? They never felt ready to group as 5 and actually accomplish something, which might be a little bit easier to do with Lycan. I also feel like Lycan is for sure a better hero in this patch than the Brood. I think Lycan was banned in that game, so a little bit harder execution. Very nice adaptation from Tempest. They got themselves the late game, and they just they succeeded.
Well, some things to polish up there as Tempest do take the series 2-1, as we can go back to the panel with Alvo and the rest.
Do you hear that, guys? You're just the rest. He doesn't even know your names. How's that feel? Anyway, we have, after game 3, Tempest ends up winning. Richie, you are the oracle for the day. You trusted this Void combo and ended up working out. Do you feel like you were right? Or do you have a little bit of self-criticism and think that maybe SG misplayed that game a little bit and that led to their loss?
No, I was right. Next question, please.
Cool.
No,
Great.
I'll elaborate a bit,
Come
of
on,
course.
dude.
I'll elaborate a bit.
No, I have a follow-up question for this because I'm gonna counter your counter.
Okay.
What do you think of Berna's strategy on SG to decide that Bloodseeker, his best asset is I run in, I fight one hero, I fight them to the death, no matter what happens. What's my movement speed for? It's to attack faster. What do you think of that strategy, huh?
I didn't really think that was the most effective strategy.
No.
Honestly, I think the biggest difference maker, especially in this third series that I think we really saw play out, was going to be spellcasting and team fighting off the back of that. I think SG kind of struggled with that in game 2. I think that's why like Gareth and Bowie were talking about as well. Like this is starting to look a little bit scary for SG, right? Because the spellcasting from Tempest was on point even when they were losing in game 2, getting a couple of pickoffs here and there, delaying the game, cutting waves. Game 3, this is kind of the reason why I thought they were going to have it. I think they have the superior team fight, and even though they had the Vengeful Spirit counter, you know, I just didn't really think the spellcasting, the positioning was all that much to write home about for this entire series for SG. And against a Faceless Void, like, it has to be there. That's why you pick the Vengeful Spirit. Maybe one swap, you know, one time she gets chronoed. Like, it just, that can't be happening.
Yeah. Very well diagnosed, and I also think like I should have seen this coming, because I was like, man, it's a Venomancer though, and SG have already shown a lot of struggles versus Venomancers before, where I talked about their problems with taking engagements. We talked about it after game 1. It's like, hey, if Frank does not have a hero that he can engage in on, then the team fighting becomes very hard for SG, and sometimes they just don't go at all. And this felt like that game again, where they weren't grouping because one, they have a Broodmother and they are not used to playing towards her, and 2, when they do, there's this Venomancer and they just all die to this poison damage because they have no good way to engage into it.
Gareth brought up a very interesting point as well towards the latter end of his discussion when he was wrapping up the series with Bowie, talking about this 30-minute timing that you see a lot of comebacks come in. So Dota's a very complex game. It's very hard to generalize things. But when I was looking at a couple of Tempest replays, something that I noticed is that in games where they actually come back in and end up kind of winning at the 30-minute mark, funnily enough, it was usually because they like to play these 2, I'll call them a 3-item cores, you know, like in this case it was Mask of Madness, Maelstrom, then BKB. Like you fight on the BKB, right? Deuce in a very similar position. Manta, Scotty, sometimes BKB, sometimes Scotty's like 2nd, 3rd item. You know what I mean? Like this kind of core. Exactly, right? Fighting then into the 2nd Roche or fighting into some important objective is usually a big turning point in this match, as it was here, because while the game was very easy for you to, relatively, you know, off of good lanes, the game was easy for you to play strong mid, strong off lane. As soon as the enemy carry actually comes in and can start doing things like he kind of did in this fight, even though he loses Aegis, like, the game completely changes on its head, and that's where you have to be able to execute on your spellcasting. You can't just rely on your draft to kind of carry you through that BKB timing of the core.
Yeah. And with that, the series ends 2-1 in favor of Tempest. And that means that they will be putting themselves in the middle of the table. SG also now in potential fear of relegation, because of course they're going to have to fight Tempest for that spot, who would now put themselves in a much better position. But we do have one more match today, one more series, and it's probably the hypest one today as well, and one of the hypest ones of the season. Beast Coast versus Infamous will be up next in 4 minutes. Traditionally, Infamous has been the Achilles heel of Beast Coast, beating them every single tour, and this tour they're looking stronger than ever. So will Beast Coast finally be able to overcome this hurdle, or will Infamous show that they have Beast Coast number written in a bathroom stall somewhere? We're going to have to find out as we take a small break and come back with Beast Coast or Infamous. So stay tuned and see you soon.